Well, as we approach the end of the second week in the campaign, happy to have Philippe Fournier back on the program, polls analyst and the man behind 338 Canada. Hello, Philippe.
Good evening, Michael.
So, let's begin with your top lines because, we've been noting that the Liberals have essentially flipped numbers of where they were a few months ago, but they continue to lead Conservatives right now. In particular, I find what's interesting, the numbers that you're finding, this widening gap in Canada's three biggest provinces. So we'll get into that in a moment. Let's begin with the national numbers. What are you seeing right now?
So interestingly, when the campaign began, Michael, my average of polling, my weighted average of polling, had the Liberals 2 points in front of the Conservatives. And now, 10 days later, we see this lead is growing and growing. And now we have an average of 6 points in favor of the Liberals nationally. Now, of course, this is a weighted average. Not all polls agree right now. We see some divergence, but an average gives you a rough idea of where we stand at this point of the race. And decidedly, the Liberals hold the advantage.
Holding the advantage. And let's talk about Quebec, Ontario, and British Columbia, because when you talk about advantage, from what I'm seeing of your analysis, we're seeing it in those provinces, which, by the by, also have the most seats up at stake in this election campaign.
Oh, absolutely. There is no doubt. But interestingly, those three provinces work with different dynamics. If we look at Ontario, we saw, yes, the NDP taking a hit now in single digits in the province, but there was also a transfer from the Conservatives towards the Liberals in the first week of the campaign. And now we have the Liberals hanging around 45 to 50% in the province, which would be enough to win a majority of seats and would block the Conservatives from hoping to even get a plurality. Whereas, Michael, if we look at Quebec, the numbers of Quebec have gone a little berserk, I must say, because we had seen the Liberals take the lead over the Bloc Québécois, but it's not as much as a lead now as a wide chasm. There are polls, such as Léger this week, that give the Liberals a 20-point lead over the Bloc Québécois, which means that the Liberals are even winning the Francophone vote in the province, something that hasn't happened in a long time. And finally, in British Columbia, the Conservatives are getting their 40-ish%. This is what they usually have in a federal and provincial election in British Columbia. But the collapse of the NDP is boosting the Liberals' numbers. And so the Liberals, which had about 27% of the vote in the 2021 election in BC, now they're hovering around the high 30s or low 40s. So many gains in seats in these three provinces for the Liberals.
Okay, so translate that now, extrapolate, if you will, all that you've said and put that into seat projection. What are you looking at right now?
Well, this morning's update, 338 Canada update, I have the Liberals at an average of 194 seats. Obviously, this is comfortably in majority territory, 22 seats above the threshold of 172 seats. The Conservatives are back to square one. In this morning's update, I have the CPC at 122 seats, which is roughly the area they were in 2021. The big difference, of course, with 2021 is the Bloc Québécois now at 17 seats, and in the NDP now, they average 9 seats. Obviously, as again, this is a wide range of outcome. There's uncertainty in those projections, but it gives you a good idea of the landscape right now.
Okay, uncertainty. And with that, I want to actually go back to Quebec, this chasm that you're talking about. I'm wondering just how set in stone or durable this is going to be for Mr. Carney. Because, last night he took part in that Radio-Canada interview, Cinq chefs, une élection. Obviously, he was more, what's the word I want to find, perhaps methodical in the way he answered questions. It makes me wonder about his performance in Quebec. Just how solid is this number for him in the province?
I'm glad you asked this question because of any party, of any leader in Quebec, I would say it's not solid. Quebec voters in the past decade and a half have shown no party loyalty whatsoever. They swing from one side to the other. We saw Quebec voters swing all the way to the NDP, then to the Liberals, the Bloc Québécois before that. And so Monsieur Carney is doing very well in Quebec. He should not believe that this lead would automatically hold. There are 3 weeks left in the campaign, and we know that Quebec voters can be a little swingy, a little moody sometimes. So I would not say it's set in stone at all.
Yeah, and a week and a half away from the French language debate, so still a lot to be watching here. Philippe Fournier, always appreciate the time. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Michael.